Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Burn here from EWPRO, getting straight into the weekly outlook, starting with the DXY on the daily. So we're looking at a WXY, X2 and a Z down. We are getting the bear hidden, a possible bear hidden there. On the H4, we just got one wave up, and we're more than likely starting to get a larger correction here. And then another one up, and then we'll be looking for downside. So the market may be quite choppy this week in a correction. On the H1, we sort of got, this may be some sort of a 1, 2, 3 here, one up here for a flat, and we get an A, B, C in here, and then possibly more upside, or it may become more complex. It's going to be difficult to trade. You'll have to go down onto the lower time frames, and you're pretty much just scalping at this present stage. Waiting for that H4 correction. AU on the daily. So we got this nice move up here. We're looking for a 50 fib retrace. I'm looking for a correction, A, B, and a C, and then we look for the larger C up. So I'm sort of just looking for a correction in here. On the H4, we've got 3 down with bullish divergence. This is looking, it's still looking rather bearish though, so you will have to be very careful buying. On the H1, there's still this chance that this is like a WXY, X2, and we get that Z down. Got to wait until that top's broken. If the bearish divergence holds, well, then you can look for this wave Z down. EU on the daily, very similar to AU. We're looking for a correction. We've got a nice wave up here. Now, there is a chance that there is a Z down. I'm not going to go over that because that's more for the class. At this stage for you guys, it's more of we're looking for impulse, correction, and then more upside. The H4, we got the 5 up. We've got this like WXY, X2, Z up with all the bearish divergence. This was just sell here. The H1 now, this may go up and break this top. Just looking at this last structure here, we got a WXY. This can be an X2 and we get a wave Z up. We do have the bullish hidden divergence there. So if you get any little bullish setup on the lower time frames, and you'll be going right down onto the lower time frames to get a trade in here, to trade that up, breaking the top. And it's more of a scalp because all this does look rather corrective for more downside. GU on the daily. So like I've mentioned many times before, once we broke that top there, I was just looking for a correction and then more upside. We're starting to get a correction. If I go down to the H4, we got those 5 up. We got that WXY, X2, Z up. This just broke that top. And now we're getting it like an A, a B, a C. I want to see in here, this correction here, I want to see it larger than these. So I want to see a larger correction in here, and then we can look for the buy. There's really, it's very risky to, I mean, this can do quite a number of things in here. It's corrective. So, you know, to buy, it becomes quite risky. We have a look on the, zoom in a little bit here, instead of going down to the lower time frames. We've got some sort of an A, B, a WXY, X2, and we can get a Z down in here. It may turn into a flat. We have a bear hidden here. So you have to be very careful. If you're getting a buy in here, you've got to be very careful, because this may fall over on you and break that low again, with that bear hidden present. NU on the daily. This is looking really nice. We got that nice impulse up, A, B, C in the B wave. So we're looking for that wave C up. On the H4, it's just one wave. If we go down to the H1, this may turn out to be a really nice buy here. I'd be putting this on your watch list. We got a nice impulse up, a correction. We got bullish divergence in here. Any bullish setup that you get, I'll be looking for the buy next week. GY on the daily. Now, this one's a little bit difficult as well. This is our impulse here. We got a WXY. We may be getting an X2 here and a Z down. We do have possible bear hidden here. H4, we've got bearish divergence in here. We've got an A, B, C. This one's like climbing up slowly. We'll see that on the H1. So on the H1, we got the 5 up. We got WXY, X2. We got the Z up. I think we may have actually lost the bearish divergence. I'll just double check that. No, between the wave Y and the wave Z, we do have bearish divergence just. So I'd be looking for this sell in here. You'd have to go down to the lower time frames, but we got an impulse down here. Look for an A, B, C, some sort of a correction in here, and then start looking for your sell setup. UY on the daily. So again, this may give a wave Z up, but that's more for what I teach my students. Just looking for a correction. If this looks corrective in here, we'll look for the sell. On the H4, we got this WX very deep, very deep X, and we got a wave Y. I'd be waiting for the X2 and then a Z up. So we're waiting for a correction of similar size to this over here, before we trade that wave Z up. Ideally, it gets down to the 38.2. If it starts getting down to the 50 pip, it'll be coming into the territory of X1. X2 will be coming into the territory of X1. So yeah, you have to be mindful of that. If you are familiar with Elliott wave. So now, is there a sell on it to get it down to this here? You'd be like if you're scalping for the sell, you'd be looking for the 38.2 as your first, and your second target would be that 50 fib. Ideally, we do have bearish divergence, so that's fine. Really need nice impulse down, breaking this low, giving us a correction, and then we can look for that sell down. USD CAD. We're looking for a correction similar size to that over here. We're starting to get that. I'm looking at an A, B, C, and we get an A, B, C in here to finish off this B wave. It hasn't quite broken the top up here yet. Looking at the last wave though, we got this WXY, maybe starting to get an X2 in here, and then you could possibly look for that wave Z up, or wait for the wave Z up, and then any sell setup that you get, you could look for the larger impulse to the downside. H1, there really isn't anything. There's really no buy or sell on it yet. We've got an impulse here. May get some sort of a flat for an A, B, C. I dare say it's going to become more complex because of the time factor in that X2 on the H4. USD Swiss franc, we broke that low there, so that invalidates any wave Z up. We're just looking for a correction in here. Whatever we get, ideally back to the 50 fib of this. H4, very similar to the others. We're in a X2, so you'll have to be very careful this week trading, because we'll be in a correction, more than likely be in a correction. The safest way is to wait for this correction in here, a similar size as X1, and then you'll be looking for that wave Z up. EG on the daily. So this one here, I'm looking at an A, a B, and I'm looking for a C down. It's quite choppy up here on the H4. We can look at this as a flat here, an A, B, we get a C down, and then you could, this may turn motive, may turn like WXY, X2, and a Z down, breaking the low for the daily. On the H1, even though we got a flat on the H4, it didn't really give a nice sell, and you still may get a buy out of it. And until this low here is broken, on the H1, it's more of a buy. We got a nice impulse up. If this looks corrective, we can buy it again, but we got bullish divergence and a higher high. So, this is going to be difficult to trade. If you do get, it can go both ways. If you get a nice sell on it, you could look for the, sell down to the 100 pip. And then you'll have to see where price goes from there, if you're going to hold it or not. WTI is becoming more complex. If I zoom in a bit here, we got the 5 up. On this wave Z, we lost all the bearish divergence. So I was just looking for a correction in here for more upside. we got a correction in here for X1 wave Y, and I was sort of looking for an A, B, C in here for X2 and then a Z down. Instead, this has become even more complex. It's just sitting down the bottom here instead of giving us a C up. So this is quite difficult to trade at the moment. You're really only scalping on the lower time frames. You know, on the H4, looking for that A, B, C. Instead, it gave us this correction in here. So this can become more complex for an A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C before it falls over. You know, this may become very complex. By the look of the price action, it didn't mean that you couldn't buy this. This was quite difficult to get in on. I was looking for a trade on this. I didn't get a trade on this one because of what happened here. You know, we got this move up here, and we got a very deep pullback in here. So we got some sort of a WX, Y, X2, and a Z up. We're getting a Z up. We're losing all the bearish divergence. So if you get any bearish, bullish flag or a correction on the lower time frames, you'd look for that buy, and you know, you'd be targeting that 100 pip, this one here. Looking at gold on the daily, very similar. You know, we got this nice impulse up, so I'm just looking for a correction in here and more upside. We got a nice wave down. Now, will this become corrective in here and give us another one down? Well, that's what I'm hoping for. And then we look to the buy that. I mean, I'm already in the buy on this, in here. On the H4, there really isn't anything. You know, we just got one wave down. I was sort of looking for, if I go down to the H1, I was sort of looking for an A, B, C. It's kept on going, so I've kept the trade. If I just show you that. So this is my live account. I don't know if you can see it but this is a live account here. This was my entry. Well, this is my entry and this is my stop loss. And like I said, I was just really looking for it's kept on going, so I've kept this trade. But yeah, it's difficult now. To get in on a buy, you really need a nice correction. On the H1, it's just one wave up, so you'd be looking for a 50 pip retrace and more upside. It still can be an expanding flat here for an A, B, C as an expanding flat. So if you do get an impulse down on the lower time frames and a sell setup, you could at least try to trade this as a flat and to go and break the low. And if it just gives you like a B, C, well, you get out at break even, you know, or take half off at the 100 pip, wherever that is on the lower time frames. If you want to learn more about how I trade, join the group. Silver, there's a couple of ways we can look at this, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we got 5 down in here as a complete complex correction. The problem is here, this can be a bear hidden as well on the W1, and we get a wave Z down. So really got to be careful. If you're going to buy this, you need good setups. On the H4 though, I'm looking at a WXY, X2, possible X2, and we may get a Z up. So, you know, any buy setup you get, like gold, is very similar to gold. You know, any buy setup you get, you would want to take it because we're at this low here. This one here, if I zoom right in, so this may be like an A, B, C in here as a like contracting flat. So if you get a little flag on the lower time frames, you know, you could, and a buy setup, you could look for a buy. You'd be looking at A, B, C, the 100 pip, wherever that 100 pip is, you'd more than likely want to be taking half off and then just let the rest run, get it to break even and let the rest run. Bitcoin on the daily. So, like I mentioned, this last week, you know, this can be an A, B, C for a flat. So we got a sell set up in here. So if you're on that, you can look to go and break the low, or at least break that low there. On the H4, we got the 5 up. We got that WXY, X2, Z up. With the bearish divergence. So like I said last week, you don't want to be buying. You're only looking for a sell. You did get a little sell in here to sell that. You got a nice little correction, you know, 1, 2, 3 up, and you can look for a sell. If you get any little bearish setup in here, you could look for more downside. S&P 500, you know, this isn't too bad. We got that impulse up, impulse down, a B wave. I'm looking for a C, like an A, B, C to finish off this B wave as a running or expanding flat, and then more upside. So any buy set, so I'm only looking for buys, like I've mentioned many times. In here, it's quite difficult. You know, I'm looking for that A, B, C on the H4. But internally here, we got a WXY. This may be an X2, and we get a bear hidden here for another one down before it goes. But any buy setup you get, you want to be taking. I also got in this S&P. This is my entry here. Live account again, you know. So I'm showing you my trades that I took last week. You know, this is my entry here. I got my stop loss, you know, just above, well, in floating profit. And yeah, so that's a couple of the trades I took last week, the gold and S&P. So now you really have to be careful. Like when I took this trade down in here, I was just looking for an A, B, C after this 100 pip. It's gone way past that 100 pip, so I keep it, you know. But there still is a possibility a WXY, X2, and a Z down. This still can be a flat in here as an expanding flat, and we get another one down. So if you do get a nice sell setup, you can look for the sell to go and break that low there. And even if you get the sell, you're looking for that 100 pip. You're looking at this on the lower time frames. If you get the sell set up and it gets down to the 100 pip, well, you want to be at break even, at least at break even, or even take half off, and then just hold it, you know, for the wave Z. Other than that, if it sort of gets you into the trade and it's a wave, just gives you a wave C, well, then you'll look for a buy setup. Like if you're looking for a buy, you'll be looking for a bullish sort of setup to buy. So pretty much can go either way. So you'll have to be careful. Yeah. AU 200. So like I mentioned last week, this can be a flat here, A, B, C, and we get more upside for an A, B, C. I should have really changed this, but I didn't. So this is looking very impulsive. Ideally, you would have got in on the first one, like I did on the example I showed you on the S&P 500, where I entered down here. Ideally, but if you get a correction, you have to wait for a correction to buy. H1 was really taking off. We got some sort of WXY. So you really have to wait for an X2 and then look for the Z up. The FTSE on the daily, this is at a top, so very risky to be buying. I'm looking for an A, B, C in the B wave, and we get an A, B, C. So I'm looking for downside. Very risky to be buying up here. I just wouldn't be doing it. But we're sort of getting some sort of expanding triangle here. For an A, B, C. So I'd be looking for a sell setup. It's not really giving a sell setup. That's the problem. It's not giving any nice real setups. So you have to wait for a nice setup. And I'd be looking for the downside more than upside. Looking at the DAX, we're looking at that A, B, C. This, as you can see, it's still looking bullish. But we got all this bearish divergence. I wouldn't be buying up here, unless you're scalping on the lower time frames. I mean, the FTSE may do the same thing as what this DAX is doing and just break out. If you wanted to scalp it, you could look for a correction and then look for the upside. For the downside, you really need to go and break that low and then wait for your bearish setup to sell. So I hope this helps you in your analysis for next week. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.